but it helps Execration's idea. I also feel like Pango is less of a feast or famine hero than the usual Bob heroes, because like you always like to mention, he cuts waves like crazy. He can always recover from a okay lane, so it's harder to cancel Bob as long as he doesn't commit suicide, which he likes to do sometimes.
He does.
So
like
I actually
to do that,
like
yeah.
their adaptation. I think Execration is growing as a team is a good sign, and they're experimenting on good things. But I'm excited. This is gonna be a fun match.
Yeah, my only fear for Execration is still that basically Rolling Thunder does a lot of work. Well, basically the goal is they initiate on one of our cores, whether it be Pango or TB. It's going to change depending on what part of the game, right? Tino is going to Solar Guardian in, and then we need to get the Rolling Thunder off and win the fight with TB popping meta and doing damage. Because the rest of their team fight it's just a little bit underwhelming, honestly, compared to Coil, Chronosphere, Echo Slam, right?
Yeah.
Moonlight Shadow to get yourself into position. Like Execration, their moves are not really easy to make here, honestly. That's the biggest concern I have. They don't have the best catch either for a puck, which is also a little bit of a concern. Lucent Beam, super annoying, don't get me wrong, but
but not catch.
Not catch. Lucent Beam into Rolling Thunder against a puck, against a DK, sure, but a puck, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Especially mid game, I feel like this puck can get away with a lot here.
Yeah.
In the middle of a team fight. Oh, they're just gonna
right
fight 5-on-5 early. Look, Bob has so much damage reduction,
Wow.
but it doesn't matter because Shanks is the one who dies. Toby's the next target. He gets one last soul assumption before he falls to Bob. Carlo, though, will be the victim to Watson. Gets a fairy fire just last second, allowing him to live for another second. Now he fights back against Fishman, gets him with a Lucent Beam. This is for the anime Mirana. Starstorm, though, Carlo, not close enough for the second star. And Fishman now went a little bit too far and will get punished for it by Shanks reviving and getting the kill.
Yeah, you were talking about Fishman, learning a bit of a new hero, right? And maybe overestimating how much this hero actually does early game until you have a couple more points in that Starstorm. But a little bit of a rock and a hard place there for him, right? As soon as he goes up the dire hill there into the triangle, he's basically dead. So good for him to at least try and get the kill and force a bit of a rotation, right? Because Palos is going to be completely alone for this first wave up top, which does leave him in a little bit of a precarious situation as far as securing his CS.
He's doing a good job of aggroing the creeps as far away as possible. It's like, nope, not close to Visage, not close to Visage. I wonder what his first point is going to be. A lot of TBs these days, they go for Reflection, but we've seen some Visages, or TB versus Visage, going for the meta level 1 again. Just to make sure that you can actually harass the Visage.
Feels a little bit hard with the Shaker in your lane, honestly, just because it's like one good fissure, right? And they basically waste your meta in terms of kill potential. Especially seeing that Luna is not really doing a whole lot for you right now, other than trying to stop Kataomi from pulling the wave, or cutting the wave, sorry, which is not going to be too successful. But yeah, I just think Reflection in general, it can be a little bit tricky against a Visage, because of course you just give them more damage for Soul Assumption, less HP for you. Toby as well, a Visage expert, basically. Loves these Aura heroes, doesn't he?
Who would you grade better? Is it Toby on the Visage or Tino? Because I value Tino's Visage very highly. Oh, Fishman. So we talk about Tino. Tino is trying to get a kill, by the way. Shanks almost had it, but they needed vision of Fishman while playing around the trees.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It's a really good question, actually. I'd say probably Execration just a little bit more, because in general, I feel like they view the Visage as more of a hero that is meant to open up parts of the map for them through his pushing power. And they enable this through the draft, right? This is a team that has been really keen to go for the Luna Visage, sometimes even with the Marcy as the carry, right? In order to just further supplement this push and really, really like make it shine, right? So I do feel like Execration, maybe they view the Visage a bit differently. Maybe Toby just likes the aura carrier aspect of this hero a bit more, right? But as far as like what's popular, what's strong in the meta, I do believe utilizing this hero as a pusher, the way that Execration seem to do more, is a bit stronger right now. So I would go with
Sure.
I'd go with Tino.
I like that, because obviously Tino's more of a win condition, right? He's still, in a way, a carry, even though he does play offlane nowadays. Where I would say that Toby definitely much more of an afterthought kind of offlaner, where he's there to make sure Watson shines.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really what it's about here, to be fair. Like, when you're Entity in this kind of a lineup, it's to get Watson his space, get him his time, and get him his farm to eventually carry you this game into this Terrorblade, right? Again, Visages, they have been struggling a little bit. The early game has been actually hard against TBs. I've been noticing that trend. Mid game, you're still pretty good, even without this Luna. You just have a lot of magic damage. The stuns on the familiars are super annoying, right? You set up very nicely for your Shaker, for your Puck, but then late game, of course, gets very difficult again. And all you really do is act as an aura carrier with the Gravekeeper's Cloak Shard and just live, right?
Yes.
So
tank as much as possible. Turn to stone. Please don't kill me on my second life, and that's it. That's the.
Please don't kill me, guys. My team needs my auras. Watson needs my auras, so he can lifesteal a little bit more against you.
Yes. You can tank some of the Eclipse at this point, right? Fishman, he still has leaps, so I can't imagine he dies, but he's dragged Tino away from the lane, so kind of a win here.
Yep. And then top as well, we did see Paulos just pop the Metamorphosis there, just on a Lucent Beam. Again, they're trying in this lane. I mean, they're doing their fundamentals, right? Carlo got level 3, level 2 Lucent Beam. This is my power spike. I've given you 6 extra damage. We kill. And of course, they don't, because it's a Luna and a TB. But space secured, right? And they're going to keep farming here pretty comfortably on Paulos.
Yeah. Paulos at this time will have a much more protagonic role than we usually are used to, right? This time it kept Tino carry.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I mean, you're completely right. Bob is crushing it right now in this mid lane. I'm always seeing Stormstormer a little bit on the back foot. Just phenomenal usages on these shield crashes and nailing creeps as well as Stormstormer with the swashbuckles. It's a pretty fun mid lane matchup. They're pretty close as far as CS. Denies a little bit of a lead here for Bob naturally, but he's just really utilizing this hero well, the toolkit. It's really impressive, actually. He must be spamming this in pubs.
Yes. Look, I'm telling you, Pango, I think he's the best mid hero to spam. Because he wins. Oh, he might kill Stormstormer. Close, wow. But no cigar. He already has that Blightstone, which I talked about. I love this build on the Pangos. People are realizing just a single Blightstone is great. With just a single Blightstone and level 4 Swashbuckle, you automatically kill the range creep, which is a huge difference when farming. And people are realizing Pango is not about plays. It's actually all about pushing the lanes as fast as possible. That's the real strength of this hero.
But what's incredible is that unless Bob has a couple different practice accounts, we'll call them, he has not played Pango once in the past 14 days, according to Dota2 Pro Tracker, which is
scrims. It's all scrims, of course.
It could be, yeah, it could be all scrims, genuinely. But still, I mean, he's really been impressing me. You're more of the Pango fanboy of the two of us. But from the way that he's been kind of dominating this matchup, now receiving a little bit of support with Carlo. Well, actually, they're going to scrap over the 6-minute runes. This could change here abruptly.
Yeah, he's already been slow. There's still... Oh, no, there isn't Swashbuckle just yet. Magic Wand, a little bit more mana. Kataomi, rush to run away. The mana's coming, though. He's using the bottle, and he doesn't even need it. Double damage. Auto attack will get Kataomi as in the bottom lane. Enchantress deals with Fishman, but here comes Stormstormer trying to finish off Shanks. Shanks is still leashed, taking a lot of damage. Activates the Magic Wand, pressures TP in the face of Stormstormer, and he'll just delay this poor Puck's return to the mid lane.
Top lane,
as
though.
Top gets another kill from Bob.
Yep, they are going to be able to get him pretty good here. Nice rotation there on that DD rune. Bob sees the Puck go bottom, so he knows that he's got plenty of time here. Stormstormer as well, wasting a little bit of time, pardon me, going for that second kill onto Shanks, which is unfruitful. Does lead Toby to die here in this top lane, so ended up being a pretty big sequence of events there. And all of that setup, you know, I gotta say, if you're going to pick this Luna hero, you know, you better maximize whatever support utility you bring, which is this stun. And credit to Carlo, he did just that. The way that he used Lucent Beam, the timing was so perfect that the fissure just couldn't come out fast enough to deny a possible rune that spawned in. It ended up being probably the best or the second best rune for Pangolier, so a little bit of luck there, besides the fact that it also spawns top when Puck was contesting bottom. But, you know, you have to put yourself in position, as I like to say, you make your own luck, right? So just phenomenal play there from Execration the past couple of minutes. We'll see what Stormstormer can do bottom. He does have Coil ready again.
Yeah, he's going for Shanks again. This time he wants to finish the kill. We still have the Magic Wand, but Shanks this time will not be able to get away with his life. Tino just adding a little bit more damage while his support's falling. As Paulos on the top lane is thinking of kill against Kataomi. Activates Metamorphosis. We have the Lucent Beam. A break is not going to affect the Luna, who's just going to take down Kataomi with the help of Paulos. And there's the Lucent Beam timing you were talking about. Level 2 Lucent Beam, actually the big power spike for this ability, actually deals damage 160. And very, very brutal against Earthshaker.
I'm doing a little bit of research here, but Watson's gone for a pretty unique build here on this Faceless Void. I'm taking a look. Yeah, Vanguard first item, right?
That's very interesting.
That's pretty cool, honestly. You don't see that a lot, and I was thinking maybe I'm a little bit behind the times, but I think it's Watson who is ahead of the meta here, perhaps. We'll see how this idea works out for him, but of course does give him a lot more HP, a lot more sustain in this lane, where he's already felt pressured enough to take level 3 Time Walk. Maybe he's thinking that he needs to be a little bit more of a farmer, of a farming presence in these lanes. Perhaps they're going to give him a bit more of the dangerous farm early on. And against, you know, a Pango, a Dawnbreaker, lots of physical damage, right? It will help him potentially live and even live long enough to chrono and turn fights along his team. I'm not really sure, though. It's a super cool item. I'm trying to find this item in his pubs, but not seeing a whole lot of it.
Oh, interesting. So I was thinking, oh, wait, Shanks. The arrow will hit perfect arrow, actually. There's the practice we were talking about for Fishman. And Shanks will fall once again with another rotation from Stormer, who's hell-bent on destroying this Enchantress's life, as Bob decides, I'll just use this time to push. Shanks is not even important.
So I see that Watson likes to do this quite a bit on AM. He does this, again, in very similar...
That's quite common, though, right?
Yes, it is. Against very similar lineups, right, where they're very heavily physical damage-based. And let me take a look. Who was his offlaner? Yeah, it was Snapfire, which is a bit more interesting there. But yeah, so he's... I guess just really enjoying this item right now. Maybe he thinks it's a bit overvalued. Of course, it disassembles eventually, and you will be able to get that Ring of Health as well as the Vit booster out from it. So eventually into the Basher or Abyssal.
Yeah, but Void doesn't use these items. That's what's surprising to me, right?
That's a really good
Battle
point.
Fury, sure, but like Void doesn't build Basher.
Void does not build. Famously, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it used to not be able to be built on some heroes, you know. On Void, they make sure it didn't work on this guy. Like, I don't know. I'm very surprised by this. We'll see what he decides to assemble into. Stormer is being stunned in the mid lane, so he can't continue his aggression, and they secure Bob's rune. But Bob's rune was down bottom, and Fishman just takes it. All this effort for nothing. Bob feels a little bit sad. The initial runes for Pango are super important for ganking, and he got the best ones possible. Double damage and haste, right? So the fact that this haste is lost onto Fishman is a massive win for Entity, who need to slow down Bob's roll.
Yeah, this is a pretty unique item that you end up seeing with this Vanguard.
I'm just looking all over drafts right now.
I am,
all over. Okay.
I looked at spectral.gg as well for their lovely build section, and according to their stats, which pulls from Immortals, it's built in 1% of Faceless Void games, so seems to be maybe some cutting-edge tech. There's a beautiful fissure, by the way, to block that Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, now Bob can't reach Fishman in time. He's like, all right, might as well use the full extent on Rolling Thunder for movement speed. He can't go to Kataomi either because it's too dangerous to kill. He has the clarity right now. But they've left top. Carlo is there top just to soak experience. They're already moving on to bottom with the Terrorblade taking over the enemy jungle.
Yeah, I really wonder what this build is going to end up going into. I would have to assume it is going to be Battle Fury. I see a Battle Fury being popular in this build because obviously Mask of Madness to go back for it now. I don't know, it still could be possible. Maybe straight into Maelstrom, and Midas would be the most reasonable next 3 items for me for this kind of a build-up.
I mean, we'll see. Right now, I'm just an observer at Watson's greatness, and we'll see if it works out. For now, Execration definitely holds the keys to the game. Like, they're absolutely dominating Entity.
That's true. However, pardon me, Toby just hit level 6 not too long ago. It seems like he's already lost one of his familiars, but that was now Stormer looking to try and enable his game with a keen rotation top lane. Execration will scout this with some pretty phenomenal wards that they have around the map right now. They have one pretty deep next to the Radiant tier 2 down bottom, and they also have a pretty standard lane ward that is pretty much watching Toby and anyone rotate to his lane. Execration have managed to take down that tier 1 tower in the mid lane, so once again, they are looking to utilize their push on this TV. Hold on, we're fighting.
Yeah, Stormer, okay, running through the trees. Tino doesn't quite catch up to him, though. This is the lack of catch we talked about.
Yeah. Bit eager of a usage on that Solar Guardian. I can't help but wonder if now there could be an opening here for Entity. Toby almost loses his familiars there again, top lane. But no Solar Guardian here. Does make your fight slightly more tricky.
Nope. That's what they're playing on. Smoke on that.
Oh, wow.
Right, so you're accurate.
He's having no luck. Well, no room really in this top lane. They just immediately look to kill his familiars as soon as they can. And honestly, Lucent Beam's a pretty good setup for the shield crash into Swashbuckle.
Yep.
So once
Swashbuckle's
again,
great at dealing with the critical cloak, right?
Yep. As long as you can hit the both of them. And honestly, once again, our quote-unquote new Pangolier is doing a phenomenal job here for Bob. I'm eager to see him start rotating a bit more. His one Rolling Thunder was utilized in the mid lane. Did just TP home to complete his Diffusal Blade. We'll see if Entity are going to be ready for this upcoming power spike.
Okay, Fishman got rid of a creep in exchange for a lot of damage. He's leaping up to the high ground. They have a ward. I don't know if they just revealed that. There's the reflection. Fishman. And then die to one more auto attack. It's going to be the hammer instead that gets him.
Yeah, and once again, it's familiar scenes for Execration, who I assume are going to maybe look for this bottom tier 1 tower pretty soon. Shanks is going to go stack once more, but just taking over the map. I mean, look at where Palos is farming. Of course, he can farm in this mid lane because he's already assisted in taking down the tower, but super aggressive playstyle. They don't think that Watson's going to show up to fight anytime soon. They don't think Toby's in any position either, and they're right with how much they're keeping him down. Basically just one familiar constantly. He's also only got the mechanism, so not a lot, not like this Vlad's build where you're actually doing damage on this hero. Not the case here. Stormstormer even being chased away from the rune spawns. It's rough. They need something to get a little bit of map control back. They're still waiting for Fishman to hit level 6. He's setting up a couple of wards now, but maybe they should look to use this first Echo Slam. Bottom tier 1 tower is gone already, but looking to take a fight back in your jungle and reclaim it with some nice sentries, some good wards, and try and hold on to this game a little bit, because it does feel like Execration, once again, they're just immediately into this top lane, chasing down Toby.
Tino and Carlo now, perhaps going down for Kataomi instead. No, they are just holding the fort for now, trying to kill the familiars like you were mentioning. But Kataomi is coming back. Is this... No, they just want to have this lane. They need at least one lane they can farm at.
Yeah, I mean, because right now, with Execration already rotating Tino to this top lane alongside Carlo, who can both push out waves fairly easily, no one's really farming too safe here, it feels like, for Entity. Even this mid lane farm, if Stormstormer wasn't a Puck, would be contested, right? Obviously, it's no use chasing him because he's Puck. But if he was like almost anyone else, they would be trying to perhaps go for a kill onto him. It's really hard. Entity, they need to make a push somewhere and find an opening in one of these lanes. It's really scary, though, because, again, even though I have criticized Execration's lack of teamfight, for now, Bob is crushing it. He's really all they need.
Rolling Thunder, there's Bob that you talked about. Then they go for Kataomi, activating the Eclipse as well. Fish is a little bit too late. Kataomi's already dead. Toby's next target. They bonk him once, a second time as well. And now he's out of range of glow charges. So Toby is going to go invisible. Do they have anything to see him? The hammer to slow him. The shield crash as well. They try to get him with a hammer. The Starbreaker specifically. And that's going to get him down. But Tino now suffering the wrath of the Faceless Void and the Familiars. Void without much mana. Here comes the Puck, supplementing a little bit more damage. And Tino will die to the Time Walks. And Stormstormer continues this with a coil already committed to Bob. What the pipe buff though? I don't know from where. Oh, that was from Tino. And Bob will not take too much damage at the beginning, but now he's being chased down the trees. Regrets his choice to fight this far out, as Entity punishes this with really, really nice counterplay.
Yeah, key move by Entity there is they actually only take that fight because from beyond the grave, Toby does manage to take down that tier 1 tower. Otherwise, Avo, I think there's no chance in hell you're fighting into a TB, TPing that close to the fight already, although Meta was on cooldown. I'm not sure if they quite knew that. Carlo in trouble, though.
Yeah, most likely going to be hunted down as well, as we have Witchblade and Stormstormer. They're playing around that timing, and that's Entity kind of coming back into the game a little bit with the counter initiation, taking advantage of their own timings. Just being patient, taking advantage of the fact that they still have good team fight, like we talked about in the draft.
Yeah, team fight's still really strong. And again, with this team fight, it's not only drafting yourselves good team fight, it's a matter of what are you doing as well. Like they're fighting over space constantly. They're always contesting the farm. Palos is like almost 2k clear here of Stormstormer, 2k clear of Watson, who by the way almost has his full Battle Fury up. So we were right about that one. Into the Battle Fury next item. After that,
I want to know what the Vit booster's for, but that we'll find out later.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that one out way later, honestly.
Palos.
No idea what he's gonna build that into.
Yeah, Sunder, he's going for Kataomi. It's been slow, they stop vision him, but Palos, you're not fast enough. He's committing a little bit too far, perhaps. Familiars are roaming around. Here's the help from Bob. Setting up the Rolling Thunder. Okay, he wants Toby, doesn't want Kataomi right now, and he does stun Fishman. Toby, though, is the real target as they stun up Palos with the Familiars. Palos now forced to run away. Puck did not jump to the orb. Here comes Dawnbreaker to save him. Still has the Sunder potentially, and tons of blood bags. And Tino does so much damage in an area, throwing the Celestial Hammer around, killing off Toby with the Starbreaker. The Oh, Luna
clean
will
up.
come from behind. Lucen Bean sniped Kataomi. Now think of Storm. Storm was also in a pickle, and Carlo will come in with the Eclipse. Up to the high ground he goes, kills off the puck.
Wow.
And even Fishman, who got too close to him, Carlo, he
He'll
knew
live
the silence
too.
was coming out. So that's why he used the Eclipse over Lucen Bean. That was such a good heads-up play.
That was a Luna specialist right there. Bob as well,
Honestly.
brother, is going to be able to heal him up as well with the bottle to make sure he makes it out alive. Rewarded for his camaraderie there with a bottle charge full now, refilled with the Arcane Rune. Execration really starting to run over this game, man. I mean, you just can't expect Watson to do too much in this kind of a game. He only has now got the Battle Fury 18 minutes in. It is alongside the Power Treads and that early VIP booster, but I don't know if he's going to be able to farm up fast enough, honestly, at this stage. He's not too far behind. It's just a bigger problem that Tino is able to get in this aggressively, has his own Vanguard on top of the Pipe of Insight, so did go for that core aura fighting item early, and you've seen it just completely resets the team fight, right? It's not a half-bad coil onto Palos. He just doesn't care. He just snaps it anyway because the pipe barrier protects him. And then there's no chance at turning that fight. There's no mobility yet on Kataomi. He's really only just got the arcane boots, Abo. I mean, it's looking really tough. For Entity to get back into this game, I think Execration are going to have to make like some sort of positioning mistake that Entity scout and then punish, because they can do that easily as well. We'll see how clean Execration can play this next 10 or so kind of minutes. Roche fight is also a little bit spooky. That could be something. That could be somewhere where Entity for Entity to fight back into this game, right?
Okay.
Because even though you do have a Rolling Thunder, I would say in the Roche Pit, you're still going to be outclassed by the Dream Coil, the Echo Slam, and the Faceless Void Chronosphere. I just think those are a little bit too strong. Speaking of Chrono, I don't know about
Murana's
this.
coming in here. Arrow will elongate this stun if it only hit in time. Bob matches Rolling Thunder will roll up first and then Rolling Thunder into it. Here's the help from the Dawnbreaker. They want to counter Nishi up to the Void. They see an opportunity with a swashbuckle. Max damage onto the Starbreaker he goes. Watson's dead. Fishman will soon follow. He's out of leaps. Bob will get him with a swashbuckle. That's a tip. That's a very deserved tip as well.
Yeah, and again, I think the thing that really impresses me is Tino is not even really going for like a damage output build. He's even going now, actually, Avo, into this Crimson Guard, which is going to completely nullify the Visage and a lot of the physical damage output from this Faceless Void early. Here we go into Roche. Not a problem now that you have no Chronosphere to fear. And Execration are going to be basically cruising in this game. 20 minutes in, already up to, probably after this Roche, a 10k net worth lead. I mean, they are just sitting pretty here. Entity, they don't look like they know which fights they can take versus the ones that they can't. And to be fair, against the Dawnbreaker, it is very tricky. Against the TB, it is very tricky, right? Bob as well, proven to be very durable on this Pangolier, right? Not easy to go down at all, and it's really been working out. They're firing on all cylinders right now. At least they get Shanks. It's a little treat.
Yeah, but Shanks is not that big a deal for you because he was constantly, because he has a Midas, he's farming aggressively in between the cores and Entity, so he's just there to die, honestly. He knows he's going to get farm anyway. He's actually going straight for a Scythe of Vice, by the way. It's a very interesting build for him. And Entity, another attempt at a team fight with a couple of ultimates ready, the Echo Slam and Dream Coil most notably. Let's see if this works out for them this time. No Chrono, but Void doesn't want to participate. He just wants to farm right now.
And Katomi is playing with Shard now.
Okay.
So.
Not the best target, but you'll settle for this if you can. And you can actually poke and prod, not commit too much. Sunder! Look at that! Palos and Carlos, a good time to say that these guys have been teammates for a really long time in various teams.
Yes.
Friendship flows through their veins.
It's true. They've played on Execration together 8 times. I don't know, actually, if that's true.
Yeah, Carlo has had 3 names in this duration. And he's always been with Palos no matter what.
Oh, that's a good story. Palos, he's always back, isn't he? He's always back to this org.
So is Carlo. I mean, Carlo leaves it less, so that's also the thing, right? He doesn't wander as much.
Smoking into the triangle. They don't have a stun, so I don't believe they catch Watson here. At least not easily.
Well, Fishman does die, right?
He just dies. He's just
Shanks
straight up dead to Shanks.
And now here comes Bob. Oh, Bob turned the wrong direction. There's the roll of the correct it. Fango spammer right here. Watson will get stunned by the Dawnbreaker. He had the time walk in time.
What?
And he's going to die.
Oh, but when did they get...
one more.
When how all of a sudden there was 5 Execration heroes up in that top lane? How did that happen so quickly? What?
Yeah. 23 Savage talked about it in his video, right? They just kind of spread. You can never get somebody who's going to be...
That's right, man. They just take over the map. And Execration, I mean, they've been doing that basically out of the laning stage. I want to say since like minute 8 or so when Bob picked up, or minute 6 even, when Bob picked up the DD rune and then immediately went top to mirror the rotation of the puck, like it's just been Execration's game here. Entity, they haven't really been too successful to hold or defend, even with all their long-range poke and harass here. It's just not coming together for them. Oh no, the familiar. Holy moly, he's got Chrysalis already, huh?
Yep. Hey, I don't think you contest this terribly at all, man. Like, the Voids matchup. Okay, well, maybe you kill him like this with poking.
Hey!
I spoke too soon. That's meta gone. And this
There's
entity
an Echo.
now wants to fight. Walking up on the fissure. There's the Echo. They have a Chrono as well. BKB activated by the TP. That saves him a lot of damage,
so
though.
tanky.
And Palo still has the Sunder now, as Watson forced the time off to retreat. Rolling Thunder also distracts the rest of the team as they go for Toby. Should be the easiest target. Arrow blocked by the Rolling Thunder. Execration actually calls to retreat instead, realizing this is not a fight they want to take.
That's the right move. I mean, these guys are pretty strong, right? Tino eager to show off the Crimson Guard. Palos as well gets the BKB off, so he doesn't really care about that Chronosphere. He tanks right through it. But the call to go up a high ground was extremely ambitious and might have actually kind of spelled a comeback here, really, for Entity. So good call for them to back out there. Entity do use a lot, basically all the ultis there in order to try and hold. Have a DD rune in the bottle of Stormstormer. There is no meta. There's no BKB, as well as no Rolling Thunder, but are there any heroes really showing on the map that you could kill that are worth killing? Again, Shanks is... I mean, you'll delay not the Shivas, the full Scythe of Ice is... Well, there's Toby again, dead in this top lane. What? No, this team, they're unstoppable, man. These boots of Baron as well for Carlo just helps the team move around the map so quickly.
Yep. His favorite build as a Luna support. Always goes for the drums and ideally into the boots of Baron. Again, he was a real specialist on this hero for some reason. Oh, okay. They cut Palos. There's at the pipe. This time they don't have the poke and prod to actually bring him down a second time.
Everyone hug the fissure.
Yeah. Then just around Palos to make sure he takes less damage.
Right, of course. That's how it works, right?
Yeah. It's spread. Oh, Stormstormer got caught by the Lucent Beam there. Carlo, quick! He knew someone was jumping in. Probably thought it was the Earthshaker instead. Okay. Now Palos avoids the arrow and runs back home in time as they leave Shanks in an illusion to deal with the racks. How much are they going to commit? They see Stormstormer. They really want to get the melee racks before the heal again. In comes Tino. Tino's the tankiest. Carlos even helping. Shanks hitting the racks, and that's finally the melee racks gone. But some counter initiation perhaps from Kataomi. He starts with a fissure. Rolling Thunder. In goes Bob and stuns half of the world here. Entity cannot move around. Bob completely disrupts his team fight.
Yeah, really good job. That should ensure a clean... Oh, not if Kataomi has anything to say about it, actually. Oh, but there's just no follow-up, Bob. And that's really just been the problem this game. Just no one's really ready to do the damage, right? Toby's gone for the Aura Carrier build, and he's just going to go into Wraith Pack next. He at least has Vlad's up, which is a little bit more bonus damage for his team, but I mean, that's barely enough to get through the Crimson Guard here. You're also playing into the Shield Crash. You're playing into the Solar Guardian, the mech as well, out from the Stormbreaker. You're playing into Nature's Attendants, man. And on top of this, a Sunder, right, for Palos. And he went for a BKB early, right? He didn't even build the complete Manta style. He just went Yasha, Dragonlance, BKB. Like, Execration, they've recognized how strong they are in this game. This isn't even like a matchup that needs to, you know, it's not like the TB at this point in his matchup versus Faces Void really needs to end the game. He's just feeling strong and feeling like he can.
Shank's life did get ended there though, as Toby covers his familiars. There's a Dream Call trying to catch Tino as well. Bob doesn't have Rolling Thunder for another 5 seconds, but I think Entity knows this, and they have to be wary of that ability, as Bob also has his Ags, so now damage has multiplied considerably with a level 15 talent.
Top lane, by the way, is pushing already into the base, so Stormstormer has to go back and deal with it. They just can't afford to take tier 4 tower damage this early on. Such a painful game right now for Entity. I mean, they have hopes, right? I mean, this team's high ground is pretty scary between Echo Slam, between Faceless Void, Chronosphere, of course, a Dream Coil, and really good chase, honestly, on the side of Entity. But the fact that Execration push high ground with first Aegis, lose it, and then push high ground again anyway, like, man, they are feeling pretty good, and I think that they got their finger on the pulse about just how aggressive they can afford to be in this kind of a match. Not really risking any lopsided fights, you know? Just playing it clean. I really have to commend them, man. What a turnaround from their earlier starts in the DPC season. maybe this like Bob Pangolier really caught Entity off guard because it genuinely was not on my radar. Not a Bob hero.
Yeah, it's like this guy could play here, like can't lose the lane. He's the leanest of mid right now, right? Because that was Bob. You just people would just rotate constantly to that mid lane when he was playing Ember or whatever, and then he's in recovery mode. He's trying to get kills, doesn't work out. But as long as this guy just ties the lane, he is a beast. That's why March let him keep his ego. Seriously.
That's right. What do you think? Do you think they were like, Bob's like, guys, this game sucks. Like, I didn't win my lane. He's like, did you ever consider not losing your lane? He's like, I can do that? And I said, well, let me introduce you to Pangolier. Lose your lane even a little bit? Don't worry. Come farm the stacks.
Come farm any lane that comes close to you. We also sharp at the same time. Got the Omi? Okay, yep. Yeah. That's probably Chemo's idea. He has a good mind about these things, honestly. He's been doing a lot of streams recently, obviously in Tagalog, but explaining a lot of the choices the team makes. And he seems to have a very clear idea as to what Dota they want to play. And that Dota is called Tundra Esports, but it's just good. It works.
I think what I am a little bit surprised by in this Entity draft is on paper, like, it's pretty good because you can just kind of, even in these kinds of situations, right, you fissure from long range, you shoot an arrow at them, you shoot an illusory orb, you poke them as well with soul assumption, right? But again, all that outlined earlier sustain that Execration has just is really countering it right now. You keep invoking the name of Tundra, right? So shall I, right? Pipe of Insight, Crimson Guard, both of these items on the Dawnbreaker, and then we're about to have a Guardian Greaves. And she's a Dawnbreaker. She has Solar Guardian on top of that. Oh, there's the Roche timing.
Yeah, Fishman, what a nice guy. He's sharing with everyone, and they all tip him, of course.
Radiant are scanning.
Now,
there's the scan.
Entity
scan
will smoke. Tino.
They've got a ward here. This might not be half bad.
Yeah, Echo Slam on top of this. Want to kill Shanks first. Shanks is the easier kill for sure.
Oh my God,
in comes Bomb Disrupt. Shanks did die. Bob's already in with the Rolling Thunder. BKBs are helping them out considerably. Tino heals back up. He's back in the fray against Toby, hoping to at least control the enemy offlane who doesn't have the same escape mechanism the rest of them do. He's just trying to walk away. Poor Toby. Someone help him. Someone force them. No, they don't have any. He's going to fall, and they even deal with Fishman in a matter of seconds as Palos is a machine gun of damage right now.
Oh yeah, he's got the
Souls, I suppose.
He turned that Yasha into an SNY. He's got plenty of stats as well. And Watson just uses BKB there, unfortunately, to just kill an Enchantress, who now has Sight the Vice, by the way, when she respawns. I don't know if they're going to be ready for that one. That is finally some solution to Stormstormer. I mean, his game is, I don't want to say over. That's a little bit dramatic, right? But I mean, Scythe of Ice, man. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
it's instant cast. This Enchantress already barely dies. I mean, she is dying, right? But you've seen how much effort it takes. Oh,
they kind of have to change, though, the system of how they initiate. Because if Shank is going to be the one that's going to scout like that, right? Then he's going to die more often than not, and Scythe won't be the right timing. Compared to maybe Carlo needs to be the one who takes that role now.
I agree.
He has 4 step.
It's your time now. Your country needs you, Carlo. Get in there.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Fishman hexed, and that's why Shanks leads sometimes just to get those quick kills.
Back by the way for Fishman.
Kataomi's been slow by the Diffusal Blade. Roll up immediately. Bob sets up the Rolling Thunder. Bonks back in. Going for Toby. Oh no, poor Toby. No, maybe Stormstormer. Really? Jumps right on him. They're lacking stuns though. Bob got a little bit too cocky there, thinking he could kill the puck with a single stun.
Now he's got the Basher online as well, the Basher of Bob, so he can finally maybe go look for a lucky lockdown onto that Stormstormer with the lucky shot, of course. But for now, you know, just that little skirmish guarantees Execration this second Aegis, and honestly, maybe just the game. I mean, Entity are really hoping for some serious mistakes now from Execration. It's possible, right? You have a lot of heroes that naturally want to bunch together, specifically this Luna to give everyone the aura. Dawnbreaker has to ult in on someone, and TB of course wants to be within Sunder range, not at all times, but when he's fighting he's more comfortable, as you call them, with a blood bag nearby. There's a blink dagger on this Earthshaker. Like, you know, you can't count out the high ground defense, right? It's still pretty darn strong.
I think Watson has his MKB, by the way, if he wants to buy it, and I actually think this MKB might just be enough to save him. Like, if they still need a really good team fight and a couple of miracles going their way, but he's back to competitive, so it makes sense. Yeah. I think this might be...
We'll see how it goes for him. This is a sneaky play from Execration, who are going to try and get through into the top base. That's Demon's Eel, because, of course, me carry, me take shard.
Yeah, oh, they already got rid of one of the sources of team fight. That's not very good, but he has a buyback. Now they're going for Void. Watson's forced to BKB, activates the Chrono. It's on the Pangolier and Tino as well. Pango, though, not quite dying. Finally, they got rid of him. Watson time walks himself to safety.
It's not a buyback.
Without Bob, this team fight becomes easier. Now trying to control the Terrorblade with the Echo Slam. However, he has Sunder immediately. Palace activates the BKB as well. And Watson struggles to get in. They're waiting for this BKB. No, Watson just goes in regardless. The time locks. He's stronger, apparently. He gets Hex. Palos fights back. In comes Tino too, but they're holding the high ground. And Puck from behind. He's going for Carlo as they kill and get rid of this Terrorblade. Watson needs to save himself. He can't be close to Palos from revive.
Doesn't have BKB.
There's too much damage from the Eclipse who covers his escape. Toby is still chasing with familiars. We have Fogs? Not yet. In 2 more seconds, we'll have another stun. Here comes Inched with some healing. That's not going to be sufficient. There's going to be so much damage. Palos dies. And it's going to be Entity doing a small comeback here with Theo trying to TP against a Void. That's not going to work. Another great finish from Kataomi keeps him in place. And they settle the score. Execration. They almost had it, but this might just be enough for Entity to stay in the game.
It could. It could be that. That's the beauty about somewhat late game good. We're still hitting that mid to late game transition point.
Beauty about Void, man. It's just Void.
Yeah, it's just Void. But that's the point I'm getting to, right? His Chronosphere cooldown, it's only going to be 30 seconds where where TB is alive and Faceless Void does not have Chrono. That's huge. And by that I mean that's a big turning point here for Watson, who somehow doesn't need BKB to win these fights. My man just walked in. Like,
yeah, that was crazy.
He straight up just walked in. I don't know how that fight works so well for them. But once again, as soon as the BKBs expire, and a phenomenal Chronosphere, by the way, in order to catch that Dawnbreaker. But as soon as those BKBs expire, that's where this really long-range poke and prod comes into play, right? All the things I was talking about during that draft, like phenomenal vision game with the familiars, you stun from range using fissure, you follow up with an arrow. Like, it's just so easy to put together, even when you happen to be 16k net worth down against an Aegis on the TB. And by the way, I'm a little bit surprised that Execration decides to put Aegis on TB. I was thinking they might have wanted to give it to Bob, personally. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, because TP, you lose your life once, you're back with that meta, what are you doing but retreating, right? Whereas it's like Bob actually does something.
Yeah, like you're this hero that, you know, you're incentivized to use your meta, your BK, and like, oh, this is a good fight, I'm going to use my meta. Well, if I'm going to use my meta, I'm going to use my BKB. And then when you die, you don't have either of them left. So I guess it's because he's the one that just has to hit he has to hit buildings, which is true, right? You genuinely want to give your Aegis, especially your second Aegis, to that person. But yeah, a bit risky, right? Against this Shaker, against this Lina. Good buyback out from Kataomi. He only has one of those plays left, but he's been really basically juicing every single drop of efficiency out of this Blink Dagger ever since he's gotten it. His first Blink Echo on that reveal when they just killed Shanks in exchange for losing second Roche. You know, not a highlight for him, but in this kind of a high ground situation, which are really tough games to play and quite frustrating, he's been doing a phenomenal job so far. So, you know, hats off to him. And basically, Abo, for the first time, Entity, they finally get to see a different part of the map other than their own high ground.
Right, exactly. But guys, this is so big. I thought we were playing League of Legends this whole time. The map was so tiny. I would say that on Kataomi's point with the Earthshaker, I think this guy is one of my favorite fours for the late game. I think his Tiny proved it a long time ago compared to a lot of other Tinies. I think this guy really, really scales up. And not in the same way that a lot of old fours used to do, where they actually just farm and become a secondary core. Kataomi just finds the right plays the more the game goes with 1 or 2 enabling items. And he knows how to scale properly, and he's very good at playing with very little farm. So he knows what the right items are to do, right? And I think in this case, the Aether Lens was incredibly good choice. Obviously, the Blink Dagger is a normal one, right? But knowing what to go for, not going for the 4-staff or Glimmer or whatever, you know, just Shard straight up in the beginning also helped him out a lot. I am a big fan of Kataomi.
He's even holding on the Eye of the Vizier, right? Speaking of cast range, so he's even hitting from a little bit further out, another basically half Aether Lens. So yeah, really good stuff here. Okay. The Vizier, I don't know, I suppose.
No, I believe you, I believe you. I believe. I just don't talk about this item because I've never read it properly.
It's fun. I mean, that's because you don't play support. This is like the support dream item when you actually have enough mana on your hero. And with Aether Lens, it's an item that synergizes nicely because with the mana and the mana regeneration Aether gives you, you generally are okay to use this item on any support hero. And almost any support really, really likes this out of the tier 3 neutrals. Sorry, I just love some of these neutral items. They have such a very interesting design. What I did want to point out, though, was it does feel like Toby's finding a little bit more impact impact in these kinds of fights, especially when he's not getting initiated on first. He now actually has the shards, so even that becomes a little bit of a potential out for him in these fights. But he is holding on to that fully upgraded Wraith Pact, a full upgraded Guardian Greaves, and soon to be that full AC. These are pretty big items for him and his team, especially because like you hit Wraith Pact just fine, honestly, if you're Execration, but it's going to have to be between Shanks and TB, who are going to take like a second to a second and a half to destroy this thing in the fights. That's a long time for Faceless Void to find a Chronosphere. You know what I mean? Because like this item, it's just super detrimental against especially Palos. They need to get rid of this item in these fights. And so far, his placement and usage of the item has been pretty phenomenal. He's holding on to Blast Rig, another favorite tier 3 neutral of mine, which is just a beautiful item to use on a hero like the Visage, especially with the Gravekeeper's Cloak aura. Oh,
talk about Visage, he's found someone. It's going to be the Dawnbreaker. But in comes Bob, trying to protect his teammate. And it seems like Toby will live for now. Who might not live is... Sorry, who might live is Toby here. Tino will be the one to live, as they get rid of him in the high ground.
Wow.
Execration's eagerness to counter-initiate on any fight is not underestimated by Entity.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, it's Execration, but for me, it's just Bob, man. He is making these fights. Like, not single-handedly, right, because he's not doing all the damage, but again, this is a lineup fighting into Echo Slam, into Coil, into Chronosphere, into Fissure Arrow, and yet the people I see getting stunned all the damn time is Entity by Bob. I didn't think it'd be possible for one man to do all this lifting. I should have known better to doubt Bob after the kind of season that he had, but
you wouldn't say this to Red Lab. He's swole.
Yeah, I wouldn't. He's swole. He eats at the freshest restaurants. You know, I love the CS copy pastas, but he's absolutely popping off. I mean, he's doing so much lifting here. It's really incredible. On a hero that's relatively new for him.
Yeah, again, from what we've seen in competitive, we can only assume at this point that he's been playing this non-stop in scrims. Everyone's like, guys, we don't need practice against Pango. We see it all the time in our pubs, and pubs like, no, it's my secret. It's a secret hero. The best mid laner right now is my secret weapon here.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's only going to continue to scale. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's a good time to break it out. You know, you're playing for up to, your share of $1 million and a direct invite to the Riyadh Masters. I think what I'm most impressed by as well for Execration is it's a strong start for a team that was perhaps regarded as an online team after their performance at the Luna Major. But now at LAN against their first opponent, which happens to be a European opponent, Western European opponent at that, you know, they're playing phenomenal.
Sixth.
So, sure. I mean, let's talk about that for a second, right? As Entity do smoke across the map looking for a fight of their own, a bit of a rough season for them, right? They had to play in 6th through 8th tiebreakers to retain their spot for Div 2. I think I saw a couple of tweets from like Fishman and Stormstorm were especially saying how this was one of the most difficult periods that they've experienced as a team, and they were just happy to win those tiebreakers, right? So pretty dire straits for them, but they can fight their way out now, right? You lived through Div 1, you have a chance at the Bali Major. Watson, in this game, has a chance as well. He just purchased his Butterfly. He's bought out for this, though, Avo. This next Roche fight, it's going to be the big one.
So yeah, this works out for them. TB doesn't traditionally deal well with this Bayesian because he's not a great MKB builder. Not much against it. Fishman, okay, he discovers a smoke. He has to die for this, but at least now they know what the plan is. However, Fishman has no buyback, so... okay, he was the one blocking the smoke, so suppose he is the 5, but now they will have to fight without Fishman if they plan on it. I don't think so, though. I think you just let the Roche go.
I think you let this Roche go. I think this time for Execration, by the way, they're going to have to choose who picks up this Refresher Shard from 3rd Roche now. I think the most difficult decision you have to make now is who takes this Aegis. Seems like it'll be Palos again. I still think there's a very good reason for Bob to be claiming this, but I'll respect his take. Me carry, me take everything.
Refresher for Carlo, as he's going for the Ags.
Okay, Bob just really wanted to get stuck, I guess. I'm not sure
what is happening to Bob right now?
I don't know, he's just...
Bob? Are you okay?
He's having a good time. Look, I mean, it's only 50 seconds. It takes him 45 seconds to walk bottom, maybe a little bit less with his haste rune, but he couldn't have known it was there.
No, I agree. I just don't know what that was for, because that was after the Roche got taken, right? Am I crazy?
Oh, it was about 10 seconds after, yeah. Just in case it was like the puck was illusory orbing all the way from the fountain, you know?
Maybe someone said, let's roll out, guys, and then Bob understood. Yep. He has to Rolling Thunder. Well, I mean, they have to wait now. 20 seconds without it. Sure, yeah, Bob. This is the equivalent of Pango testing his BKB.
That's
and
right.
now
That's right.
we'll
He's just
see-
making
we'll see
sure
how
he's.
he just works.
You ever just like do a little bit of stretching just to make sure you can still touch your toes? You know, Pango,
I've
that's what
never
he was
been
doing.
able to, so I don't know what that
That's
feels
a
like.
problem.
I mean, recently I've been able to touch my knees, and I'm pretty proud of that one.
That I'm very happy to hear it. That's
Yeah,
progress.
I've been working very hard on this. Lyrical can touch his toes, you know?
I do know that. Yes, I've seen him do it.
I was very ashamed when he did that to me in Stockholm. And then every time he would see me for the whole day, he would just touch his toes for me and then laugh, which I realized he was not that good a person when he did that.
Fissure?
Oh, they caught Palos. Terror Wave, though. That was not meta, that was just Terror Wave, which is a really good counter nation. Palos quick
Yes,
on the
it
draw
is.
there.
Yeah.
And I think they should... Yeah, Palos commits the BKB. He wants the
And-
racks. He's done.
And the meta, yeah.
They
Oh,
catch the puck,
Hex.
too. Yep, he has A on this, though. Stormstormer should be able to get out. Let's blink in 1 second. Or maybe go forward. Stormstormer wants to get something out of this.
Oh, wow.
And he does get out now. However,
so
he
close.
forced the A on this got Bob. Fishman, a little bit out of position, can leap back
Here
through
comes
position,
Bob.
though. Here comes
Chrono.
Bob, the Chrono. Got a TP. But they have the damage on the construct on the Enchantress instead. Here comes the
No.
Dawnbreaker as well for more healing. And that is
damage.
going to be a dead Fishman. That's all they got out of this. Echo Slam. Shanks, though, still alive. Heals back up. Got the Omi now in trouble as the Eclipse is activated. 2 supports dead for Entity. And they got nothing out of this, Richie.
no.
Palos takes down Toby like he's made out of paper. Now got Toby
Another hack.
revives into a Pango shield crash. They catch Stormstormer too. This last team fight was just a bunch of spaghetti.
Yeah, it was a spaghetti. And Abo, it's not Spaghetti Monday, it's Spaghetti Sunday here for Execration. That's good news for them because a phenomenal showing. I think, again, people probably had their doubts against this team from SEA. Were not the top of their region this time, had a bit of a difficult start. I think all eyes, for the most part,